Hi everyone, what is up? It is Balloon. Welcome back to my channel. Hi, how are you doing? Sorry first of all that I didn't upload the last couple of days. Honestly, I was just kind of going through it a little bit myself because of the whole Eugenia Cooney comments about the whole Jeffree Star allegation situation. My previous video that I made, honestly that situation was just a little bit triggering for me, and I just took a moment to kind of step back and kind of have a little bit of mental space from it, if you know what I mean, just to kind of get myself together and calm down and be like, chill, you know. So anyway, moving on, today's video we're going to get into it a little bit about Ryland Addams, because Ryland has been saying some kind of really odd hypocritical things, as well as Trisha Paytas, who is of course still coming for Ryland, still coming for Shane as well. I'm just putting on some primer here. This is the Elf Poreless Putty Primer, which I love. So not the episode that's just been, but the one the previous week of Ryland's podcast The Sip. He came out and he said, I don't really want to be like a tea channel anymore. I want to rebrand, all this kind of stuff. Bear in mind, Ryland's podcast so far with Lizzie, The Sip, the podcast with Lizzie Gordon, that has pretty much just been the two of them kind of spilling tea. So Trisha Paytas got on TikTok, as she does, and this I found quite funny, but also kind of correct, if I'm honest. Trisha Paytas got on her TikToks and she basically shaded Ryland for his podcast being about tea. She shaded his merch, everything like this. So I'm going to play you some of Trisha's TikToks just in case you haven't seen them yet. The first one is Trisha reacting to the news that Jeffree Star is still working with Hair by Jay. We all remember Jeffree Star came out and said, "Good morning to everyone except the guy that used to do my hair," following on from that video that Trisha Paytas made where she was crying, reacting to things that Hair by Jay had said about her on an IG live. And these things that Hair by Jay said were very disgusting. They were gross. He was calling her a walrus, making fun of her skin, hair, weight, everything. He was really, really vile about Trisha Paytas. We all know that, right? So Trisha has now been made aware, of course, that Hair by Jay and Jeffree Star are still working together. And here's what she had to say about that.
Everyone's been tagging me in this about Jeffree still using Hair by Jay. Obviously he is. Jeffree's the one who said all those vile things. Jay was just stupid enough to repeat and confirm it online because he's his little minion. But Jeffree is also just as vile, so obviously trash is going to keep trash. He was just trying to save face for a couple days, I guess. If you don't remember Jay, let me remind you of this beautiful human.
Bitch, I will destroy you, bitch. By the time I'm done with you, you're gonna look anorexic.
And these are the people that Shane and Ryland continue to support for that dollar. Ryland and his shitty merch using Jeffree's merch company. But okay, cool. Trash recognized trash. Devil plays with devil. Cool. The most offensive part about Jay's rant was him saying if we, him including himself and Jeffree, you're the hired help, don't forget. But he said if we called her, saying him and Jeffree called me, that I'd be dying to hang out with them. And Jeffree called and pleaded, trying to keep some sort of friendship or some sort of like cool relationship online. I would never hang out with these two people again if you paid me $1 million. They're the trash scum of the internet, and it's been proven time and time again, but because they're popular, they get away with it. And because they have money. Money doesn't buy happiness. They're cold in the dark on the inside.
After Trish coming out with that, Hair by Jay then came out on his IG stories. He appeared to be at like Jeffree Star's house, probably working on another wig on Jeffree Star. So yeah, Jeffree Star definitely has lied when he said, "Oh, I always hold all the people around me accountable." Because the way that Jay spoke about Trish was vile. It was terrible. It was horrible. It was disgusting. You know, I think most people agree on that. And Jeffree is just doesn't care. Not going to take any accountability, not going to, you know, acknowledge the way that Trish feels about the whole situation or anything like that. So Hair by Jay came out in an IG story showing off the new Blood Sugar anniversary collection, saying, "Oh look, Jeffree Star has gifted me these to give away to people because I'm the best hairstylist he's ever had." Blah, blah, blah. Girl, This is shady. You know, this is just shady. I mean, you know, it would piss me off if that was me in Trisha's shoes. It would really piss me off, because I would be like, oh, well, there's someone who clearly doesn't give two F's about me. You know, if someone has really, really dragged you, like Jay dragged Trish, and then you see someone who was supposed to be your friend, i.e. Jeffree Star, you know, just going back and working with that person just like nothing ever happened, you'd be pissed off, right? So Jay showed this little IG story with this blood sugar anniversary cash grab collection, which to me, a lot of it is a cash grab, because it's just an old palette. It's an old palette with a mini palette that's got one new shade in it, and then a lipstick vault which has got lots of old shades in it, and then 16 new shades thrown in. Which, by the way, the lipstick vault, I've said before, I think it's like way too overpriced for people right now. $160. I'm like, girl, who is paying $160 in this pandemic for a lipstick vault? Then the packaging is just kind of, to me, seems very lazy on this collection, you know, with the sort of photos of Jeffree and stuff. Like, you know, it doesn't seem like any real artistic effort went into it, if I'm honest. It just seems kind of lazy, like, oh, we'll just slap old campaign images on it. You know what I mean?
You guys, I literally just walked in to do Jeffree's hair, and he had all this ready for me. Yo, and this is just for me. He has 2 boxes for family and friends for me to give away. Just 2 boxes. He said, here, for being the best hairstylist I ever had.
So, no surprise, Jeffree Star is playing around, acting a fool, got no morals. Are we surprised? No, we're not. But moving on, we're going to get into this little bit, as I said earlier in the video, about Ryland Addams. Because Ryland Addams is rebranding his The Sip podcast, or as I like to call it, The Dribble. He's going to be rebranding his The Dribble podcast. And I'm just like, girl, that podcast, to me, from the go anyway, it wasn't ever really interesting, if I'm honest. It was kind of boring. You know, they talked about tea, they talked about hot topics, but it wasn't like juicy gossip. It was just boring, kind of mundane stuff. And the other thing that really irritated me with Ryland's The Sip, The Dribble, whatever it's called, podcast, was the fact that Ryland seems to kind of stop 10 minutes into the podcast and do like a sponsored ad. So he'll promote some product while he's 10 minutes into the podcast, and it's done in a really kind of cheesy television presenter way, and I'm just like, I don't like it. So for me, that podcast is something, you know, no shade to Lizzie, you know, Lizzie Gordon, she seems like a nice woman, but that podcast for me is something that I start watching and then I get bored 5-10 minutes in and I want to go and watch something else. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but for me, it's just not an exciting podcast, you know. Personally, I would probably find it more exciting to watch paint dry, but that's just my opinion. But now, oh yeah, he's rebranding. So I'm going to roll you this little clip from last week's The Sip podcast, because yesterday's one, honestly, it just did not interest me at all. But we'll get into last week's one, because this clip is Ryland basically admitting that he's been very hypocritical, saying, oh, you know, people are being too negative online and all of this, and we need to stop being negative and all of this. This clip is Ryland realising that he is what all the drama channels have said he is, which is he is a glorified drama channel. You know, having a podcast about tea and gossip and drama, what is that? You know, it is essentially a glorified drama channel. He's trying to play it off by saying, oh yeah, you know, I thought this podcast was going to be like a morning show. I always wanted to have a good morning show. When essentially all he's done is come out and be like a kind of glorified drama channel in a little shed. Anyway, guys, here's the clip.
This is typically where we would jump into hot topics. And I've been having like a moral dilemma. I called you over the weekend kind
Yeah.
of freaking out about the state of my life, this show, existing in general.
Yeah.
And I think I've come a long way based upon a lot of different things. Like I had to take like a hard look at myself in the mirror and the direction in which my life is going and where I want it to go, where I want to be, what I evaluate as true happiness versus like doing something to be on the treadmill of doing it, right? And with this show specifically, like I'm living out my, I guess, childhood. Like I've always wanted to have a morning show. And I think that's what I set out to do when we started this show. And I think in turn, when I'm like really taking a step outside of this show and reflecting and looking on into it, I'm on YouTube and I feel like I'm swimming upstream against the current because like if we were going in the hot topics, celebrity gossip culture, YouTube's not really the platform because if
Right.
we're going to talk about hot topics, it's like the hot topics inside of YouTube are the community in which I'm involved in, which is YouTube drama, which would be essentially a drama channel, which like I never wanted to do. But I don't know if like transitioning that to talking about celebrities' lives is any more
any
healthy
better, yeah.
because I'm a little bit further detached. It's still like making assumptions about people's lives that I know nothing about.
Yeah.
And when I really think about it, I do see the hypocrisy in it, like because Shane and I have that happen to us all day, every day.
And you don't like it.
I don't like the way that it makes me feel,
Yeah.
yet I sit here and talk about other people's lives. However, I don't think we've been super salacious, and I think we are careful with a lot of the topics we choose.
Yeah.
So this is all very, very funny because isn't it funny how Ryland is now coming out and saying, oh, I realise I've been hypocritical when I'm sitting here talking about other people and I don't like being talked about myself. Isn't it really hypocritical how Ryland has come to that conclusion now? Because drama channels like Adam McIntyre, like myself, Peter Mon, drama channels have called Ryland out for that. You know, Ryland, you've been on Clever News. Your whole career has been made from talking about other people and pop culture. So how can you say that you're any different to a drama channel? Oh, look, you can't. And now that Ryland's been kind of hit in the face with that, he's now saying, oh, I want to rebrand. You know, don't really want to be a tea channel, a drama channel. I really want to rebrand and talk about the bigger picture and big topics and, you know, girl. But yet, he's just come out with merch for this podcast, which has got a teacup and tea spilling out of it. Hello? And of course, who reacted to that? Trisha Paytas in a TikTok. Good old Trish. She's come out in a TikTok. She's reacted to it. And honestly, I find it quite hilarious because Trisha is just going for the full expose on Ryland Addams at the moment. She is dragging him for his merch being about tea when he's saying his podcast doesn't want to be about tea anymore. He wants to rebrand, all that stuff. She is going in. She's dragging Ryland. So I'm going to roll you this one and we're going to come back and chat a little bit more.
I just got out of the shower and I have teeth whitening strips on. That's how, like, I just don't care about this person, like, at all. But I found something really interesting and I just thought I'd share it. So you all know Ryland Addams. You don't know? Oh, you still don't know? He, like, got engaged to, like, Shane Dawson or whatever. So I guess he got some sort of relevancy for a minute. Had a podcast called The Sip. Maybe still does. Says he's rebranding because he doesn't like people talking about him. No one's talking about you. They're talking about Shane. You're just the mouthpiece that gets caught in the way. He recently came out with this merch, with Killer Merch, which is Jeffree Star's merch company, and this is recent. He's rebranding. He's not a tea channel anymore, but still having, and that's The Sip. This looks so similar to one of my favorite brands. We get you lack originality. That's why your podcast is called, like, Tea something. And you leech off your famous fiance, but you can change it just a little bit.
I've got to say, I do agree with Trisha on this whole merch thing. The merch looks very, very lazy. Ryland's merch looks very, very lazy. Very unoriginal, in my opinion. You know, and especially now that he's saying he wants to rebrand, the merch looks like it's for a tea podcast or a drama channel. It doesn't look like it's for anything else, you know. So how are you going to say, oh yeah, we're rebranding, when your whole logo on your merch is tea? Dumb. Anyway, it wasn't only Trisha Paytas that came out and criticised Ryland's merch. It was also Oscar Wylde, who is, of course, former friend of Jeffree Star. He's a DJ, you know, he's got his OnlyFans and stuff. He's doing his own thing with the music. He does a lot of that on TikTok and stuff. He posts it on Instagram as well. But Oscar Wylde came out and made a few tweets about this merch. Go. So former friend of Jeffree Star, Oscar Wylde. Jeffree Star, remember, is the co-owner of Killer Merch. So Killer Merch have made Ryland's The Sip merch, and Oscar Wylde said, do YouTubers even try anymore when they make merch? Or is it all just for a cash grab? Does he even know he ripped off a former head designer of Louis Vuitton with this design? And then he's put up 2 screenshots of the merch so you can see the design compared to another one showing the same font, the same colours, very, very similar looking design. So Ryland's does indeed look a little bit ripped off. And you know what else? Ryland's merch reminded me very, very much of a green Jeffree Star design that he's got up on the Jeffree Star Cosmetics website that is already existing. It's got exactly the same font. I'll throw a pic up here so you guys can see. But it was the Hi How Are You hoodies, I believe. So there were those hoodies that Jeffree Star Cosmetics have already put out. Ryland's design looks exactly like those and exactly like the one that Oscar Wylde threw up. So there's nothing original or exciting about Ryland's merch at all. It is just a cash grab. There's nothing that's really been designed about it. There's nothing original, nothing unique. So why are we going to spend, you know, hard-earned money on that? Like, it is just a blatant copy of a few other existing designs. No thanks, Ryland. We'll save our coin. Thank you so much, but no. So Jeffree Star is doing repeat performance of the Blood Sugar palette. Coming out tomorrow. 2 versions. This one, the white one, which I don't know why anyone is going to buy a white Blood Sugar palette. I mean, maybe if you don't already have it, it's kind of cute, but lazy. Lazy AF. Oh yeah, we'll just do a repeat performance of an old palette because we can't be bothered to think of any new exciting palette designs. So here we go, we'll just chuck out an old one, call it a collector's edition, anniversary collection. Oh, and people will go crazy for it. I don't think so. No. Not at $52 when you've already bought that $52 palette. Are you really going to buy another one? Nah. Like, come on, sis. Where is the creativity now? You know, I feel like it's going... Anyway, guys, that is all from me on this one. I'm going to say take care, stay safe, stay well. Love you so much. Thank you so much for supporting my channel and taking the time to watch my videos. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Mwah. Love you guys. Bye.